to the program. My name is Catherine Mwangi. This is What's Your Story? So glad you've tuned in today. We're here at the Trademark Hotel, situated at the Village Market. And we are so honored, for me at least, to be speaking to this incredible couple. They are, I should say, the first couple that have invested heavily in healthcare here in Kenya. And they are both doctors of international repute. They deal with matters of the heart, not just physically, but I think also emotionally, but we'll get to know all of that. You're most welcome, Dr. Betty Gikonyo, Dr. Dan Gikonyo.
Thank you very much, Catherine.
Cardiologists.
That's correct. We are cardiologists.
So both of you deal with heart matters, heart surgery.
Yes, we made broken hearts.
I knew. You meant broken hearts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yours are more specific to children.
Yes, I'm a pediatric cardiologist, so I deal with children from birth all the way up to the time now I had them over to him as adults.
When they start having problems of the heart, you hand them over to Dr. Dan.
No, when they grow old enough to now they are adults with adult issues.
Yes.
I had them to him.
Yes.
But I usually had them to him when they are well.
When they're
just
well.
to follow up.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm so honored to have you on this program. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you.
And you're currently the chairman of the Karen Hospital.
I am currently the chairman of the Karen Hospital, having served as the chief executive for 15 years, as a founder, chief executive,
Yes.
as a founder, director,
Yes.
and I'm enjoying my retirement.
My goodness, we shall talk about the things you've been doing during retirement. And what about you, Dr. Dan, the doctor to the presidents?
Well, no, I'm still practicing cardiology. I see patients on a daily basis at the Karen Hospital. I am present to one of the cardiologists there because, as you know, Dr. Anthony Kibuka Gikonyo, who is our son, also is now the chief of cardiology.
Okay.
He's a heart specialist, and he does most of the work that I also do.
Yes.
And we have many other cardiologists at the Karen Hospital. Right now, Catherine, without exaggerating, we are the busiest cardiovascular center in East and Central Africa.
Wow.
We do more heart surgeries,
Yes.
and that's a fact, more heart surgeries than our neighboring hospitals and countries,
Wow.
especially where it comes to do things like a coronary artery bypass surgery, where at the Karen Hospital we do it on a beating heart. We don't stop the heart. We stitch up the vessels as the heart is beating. And that's our, maybe our trademark.
Yes.
Trademark indeed.
Yes, yeah.
At the Karen Hospital,
Yeah.
cardiac surgery, amongst many other things that we do there.
Right.
Yes. So there I am one of the cardiologists there.
So a big innovation is you operate when the heart is beating.
That is true. We call it beating heart surgery, where you don't have to use, normally under normal circumstances, when you do coronary artery bypass surgery, in some areas you have to stop the heart so that you stitch the vessels when the heart is not beating. The time you stop the heart, then you must put somebody on what called a heart-lung machine, where the blood circulation circulates outside the body. Then when you finish, you restart the heart. That has got its own dangers and shortcomings, because when you stop the heart, you have to restart it again, and then you're using the blood going outside through other tubes. But if you can do it without stopping the heart, the recovery time is much faster, and also the expense is less.
I just felt like I've come from a biology class.
Oh, yes.
Biology class right there. But
Yes.
that's such a huge innovation, especially
Yes.
being the only hospital doing that in East Africa.
That's correct.
So the beginnings of Karen Hospital, even before we go to the point at which as a couple you decided we need to have a hospital.
We can start from medical school.
Yes.
Where we met.
Yes.
Yeah, we were in the same class. And there was a young man there, and there was a young lady there, both determined to be doctors. But what I tell people is that when you're studying medicine, you don't have much time, to go, to do many other things. And your social life is around medicine and the people that you are with. And it came to pass that we got married.
Okay, before the marriage, how did you notice this young girl back in medical school?
You know, Catherine, that when you talk about back in medical school, that is 1970. First year medical students, yes. You know, if you are a smart fellow, and very clever, you cannot fail to notice a smart, clever girl in a class. And if she's very beautiful, then that's how you meet.
So you're saying you are bold and you just had this target and you went for it?
Yeah, you are a smart fellow in the class, you can look around, and as you said, if you are a medical student, these are your social circles, the people you interact with. And if you're lucky to notice somebody that you like, and then you fall in love with, the natural thing is that when you finish medical school, you get married. Yes.
I think it's good to say it because we actually got married before we finished medical school.
Oh.
So in our final year, we decided that now we could actually start a family, and we did, and that's where trouble started. Because work and children, study and children are not easy. But we managed that our firstborn son, Anthony, who is now the doctor, was born in Kenyatta National Hospital. So humble beginnings. And at that time we were living in Dagoretti Corner. We had a small apartment, and we used to travel by Kenya bus service, to go to the medical school. And we lived on the stipend that the universities provided, because that was the only way. But so I like to mention this because people they see the end, but they don't see the beginning. So that beginning was so Gado, Dagoretti Corner, the furniture on the roadside. That's part. that's where it all began. That was our beginning. And after we finished medical school, we were posted to Nakuru Provincial Hospital, where we worked as interns.
Both of you?
Well, now we were. The government has always been very kind. It never used to separate couples. So if you're a man and wife, you are posted to the same place. So we were posted to Nakuru Provincial Hospital. And worked at a very able, specialists. I worked at a pediatrician called Dr. Kalia, and Mr. Dekuna, and we, as interns, we rotated through the same, and we finished Nakuru. We finished Nakuru as interns, and then after that we were registered as now to be full. Registered doctors, and we worked for an extra year in Nakuru as medical officers, and during that time we were now getting ready to go for our postgraduate. So we went back to the University of Nairobi together, but this time I decided I want to do pediatrics, I want to look after children, and he will tell his story, but he decided he wants to look after adults, and it worked out very well for us. And we've been working together, even going to over, our subspecialization, but our university is University of Nairobi, undergraduate and masters in pediatrics, and him masters in medicine, and thereafter we went to to Minneapolis in Minnesota, and USA, and we studied cardiology, and we came back home. I think I can let him tell the rest of the story because
and especially now as the head of the home, you are able to navigate and make decisions as a unit. You're driving your family as a unit.
Catherine, I think what Dr. Betty has said is very good. And what she has said, that we started from a very humble beginning. I know many people will watch this program. It's very important to tell the young people, it's not where you start that matters. You can start very low. What you have to do is focus to know exactly what do I want to do in life. If you read Dr. Betty's book, when she was growing up in Kiamabara, in Madeira, near Karatina, even at the tender age of 10, she had made up her mind that I want to be a doctor. I made up my mind to be a doctor in primary school. I decided I'll become a doctor. So even through high school, you are geared into that direction.
Right.
And even if you start humbly in a small village in Teto, in Ihide, without shoes, walking to school in the rain, if your mind is focused that me, I want to get that point, all your life you work towards that goal. And that's what we both have done. You start low, but you know the target. Even in medical school, when we are getting married, we are planning. We want to get off these children, then move on. Even the idea of starting current hospital didn't start here when we came back. We had it in America. We are going back to the country. We are going to set up a hospital, and we are going to do children, and we will help children with heart diseases. So you work towards that goal. And as long as you keep on working on it on a day-to-day basis, you will get there. People who don't get to a destination because they had no destination in the first place.
And for yours has been solidified by the fact that you are both in agreement. You know how two cannot walk together unless...
Absolutely, they agree together, yes.
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 So both husband and wife, you had a similar univision. And, is it one of you maybe had different thoughts and then one had to pull the other, or you both had the same vision, you are both hitting the bull's eye? What was it?
I would say that we had a similar vision. Our driving force for starting Karen Hospital, or dreaming about it initially when we were in the Minnesota, and thinking through it, was we want to be able to practice the medicine and the high level, of healthcare that we had seen in the U.S. And we are looking back and saying, where does it exist in Kenya? And we did not see it.
Yes.
But we also knew that we did not have the cash, and we did not have the wherewithal, to be able to do it immediately. We needed to work and work very hard. And that's how then, after coming back from the US, we set up the Nairobi Heart Clinic in Nairobi Hospital and worked there for, believe you me, 20 years. Yes, from 1986 to 2006. So that's how long it took, for us before we could actually open the Karen Hospital. Also in my book, we have, it took us a lot of convincing, a lot of would-be financiers who thought, who some laughed at us, some ridiculed us, but at the end of the day, but we were clear. I think I'm just getting back to your point.
Yes.
We were very clear what we wanted to do.
Yes.
So even when you are ridiculed, when people don't believe in you, just keep on going. Keep on your path.
Yes.
And as the alchemist says, if you really want something hard enough, nature will connive to give it to you.
So you want to tell me, from the time you dreamt about it in Minnesota to the time it actualized, it was 20 years?
Well, 23 years. Because we had 3 years in Minneapolis. And then we were in Nairobi Hospital for 20 years.
And that's the part people don't understand.
But we were focused. We knew exactly what we wanted. And you go slow. If you want something very badly, you work towards it, you'll get it. But it requires 3 things. Because I know, as I say, there are many young people who watch this program.
Yes.
It requires a lot of hard work. You wake up in the morning and you go there and you do it. It requires honesty. Because the idea of shortcuts through devious and scrupulous areas where you are not being very honest, you get a short-term gain, but long-term you lose. It requires a lot of honesty and openness, where you are dealing in an open manner. Because what sometimes destroys programs is when you try to take some shortcuts and you tell a few lies here, you steal here, you do this. Not that way. Current hospital has been built on hard work and honest work. Yes. And you can dig deep into all the dealings that have gone on, because some people might think, oh, you got here because you are given this. It is sheer hard work and honest work. And as long as it will take time, but you'll get there.
Yes.
As for the dream, it is mutual trust. And again, there are people who don't trust women. And women do not trust men, and therefore when they get married, nobody trusts the other.
Yeah.
I came from a family where I could see my father was very respectful to my mother.
Wow.
And my mother was very respectful to my father.
Yes.
And I could see them discuss things, small things, very minor things that they had trouble with, and they come to a conclusion, we go this way. That guides me, because as long as you respect your wife and know that she is also capable of independent thinking, and you are not the custodian of knowledge, that even your wife can have knowledge, even sometimes more than you.
Yes.
You respect that and you move on, and you can't go wrong.
So you're building, you have this vision, you have a target, you're working hard day and night, working overtime. You have children that you're raising at this point. Through that 23 years, Anthony is already in the picture, 2 more already. So vision, family, relationship. How do you balance those balls in the air to ensure none is falling to the ground and crashing?
Yes, indeed, we have 3 children, and and we mentioned about Anthony, who is a cardiologist. We mentioned about Juliet Nyaga, who is the chief executive now, but we also have Eric Mwangi, traditionally named after my father, as it is in our amongst our tribe.
Yeah.
And Mwangi, and I want to tell this part of the story to encourage some mothers, who, when they see Dr. Betty Gikonyo, they see the Dr. Betty Gikonyo, who is the chief executive, who is the chairman, and who is a, because our last born son, was born with a problem, with a medical problem. And at that time, I was doing my final year, my first year, as a postgraduate student, a master's in the University of Nairobi. And when he was born, he required me to have to stop, my training, and take him in to UK, and I have put that in my book. And just like any other mother, if you have a child with a problem, born with a problem, you are tearful. So it doesn't matter whether you're a doctor, you're a pediatrician, you are, you're emotionally, affected,
Yeah.
and it saps energy, out of you, and And I just would like to encourage any mother, who may find, or any couple who find themselves, in a situation that we found ourselves.
Yeah.
These are 2 doctors. We have had 2 children, who are running around well, and then we get one with a problem that requires surgery, as a newborn child, and at that time we felt that we could, we needed to take him to a center of excellence. And again, to put records right, we did not have the money because we were in school. We were doing our postgraduate. Yes, we were earning. We were earning a salary, but the government salary, which was very good at that time, was 2,400 shillings per month. For a doctor, but it was a lot. And but we had people who came on board to help us. And to help us get our child, to UK. The government also did, because we were civil servants. And today, Eric is a grown-up man, married, with 2 children. So even as we go to the family, I would like, but it's been a journey with him.
Yeah.
So it was not a one-off treatment. It's been going on and still ongoing. And so in the midst of all this glamour and everything else that may appear on the outside, even doctors, as somebody said, cry. Even doctors, get, sick. Doctors get problems, and they deal with them the same way that an ordinary person will deal with them. At that point, I'm not a doctor. I'm a mother with a child who requires treatment. So that's something that I thought is important, Catherine. That
it's amazing you
pick
said
somebody.
it. Yes, it's amazing you've said it, because you're right. We just see the glamour, a very strong name. Yes. When we see Dr. Dan at press conferences, it's, you just see, wow. You hear your 2 children are doctors, they're like, wow, legacy. They followed after the parents. But then people do not see the private struggles, the private tears, the private battles. People don't see that. So I'm so appreciative that you have said it.
Yes.
Catherine, is
yes.
what Dr. Betty has said is very important. And that's why we spend a lot of time helping people with sick children in cardiac services. At Karen Hospital, we help young doctors to progress in their career, in their curriculum, so they become better doctors, they become cardiologists. We have spent the last 20, 30 years training other doctors to be cardiologists. It's important to realize that although you see us here, we are here because of help we got from other people. Nobody gets very far without somebody being near you.
Yes.
But give something in your heart, not to expect that you get anything in return.
Yes.
And we do that at the Karen Hospital. We have a lot of young doctors we have to train. We have a charity arm, the Heart to Heart Foundation, where we raise funds for children with heart diseases to get free surgery.
Yes, so powerful. Wow. Okay. So I know you want to add on to something.
Yes, I just wanted to add that when you consider the number of employees, people who have been able, you can say because of this dream, now for 15 years they have been earning a salary. Many of them come back and say, because of this job, my children have gone up to school, they are engineers, so that contribution, to society, now reaches every employee in Kenya is said to support 10 people. So you see the impact of just the dream that has gone beyond your family. Now we have been recognized as a center for training surgeons for East and Central Africa. So we are a training facility. We are registered by the Ministry of Health as internship. What I said, people are going to Nakuru, they can come to Karen Hospital and we train them and they be registered. We have been, also recognized, to train ICU nurses. So all these things that we are doing, and apart from training cardiologists, because we have replicated ourselves. We know that when we leave, we are not leaving a vacuum. So the legacy really is not so much about, and the emphasis should not be about us, but is about the impact, that this whole dream that started, the mustard seed that was sown, what it has grown into and the fruits that will come out of it. And I would encourage other doctors and other I would say people who are specialists, whether they're engineers or architects and all, to think, beyond, what is it that society has, as Daktari has said, given me, and I need to give back. We have decided to sponsor students to the University of Nairobi, medical students, and pay, 5 of them, through the 6 years of medical school as a way of appreciating that we went to medical school free of charge.
Wow.
So now you can go to the family.
And that's exactly where we shall be going to after this little, very short commercial break. I know you want to know how they have kept it going for the last almost 50 years. Welcome back to the program. This is What's Your Story? We are here with the Gikonyos. You said DK and BM. That's Dr. Dan Gikonyo and Dr. Betty Gikonyo. And you have put it so aptly, the power of vision, the power of being united and working as a team in fulfilling that which is your calling. When you are creating it, when you knew that this is the path, Dr. Dan, did you know that it would end up being like what Dr. Betty said before the break, like this mustard seed that has grown into this humongous tree that has given shade to so many people, so many people. The branches have fed so many families. Did you know that then?
Well, Catherine, the tree has not grown to what we still dream about. We're not there. We only have one hospital here in Karen Hospital. with about 100 beds. We have 7 satellite branches. That is just part of the vision. The vision, Catherine, is bigger than that. The vision went into, apart from the charity arm, the Heart to Heart Foundation, is training. And we have, so far, we have a nursing school that trains Kenya registered nurses. We are training we are doing some postgraduate training of cardiac technologists, theater nurses, perfusionists. Perfusionists are people who run the heart-lung machine when you are doing surgery.
Okay.
We have been accredited to train surgeons by the College of East and Central Africa, COSEXA. We are a Ministry of Health medical internship center that we take medical graduates for internship for the year. We are also Ministry of Health training for postgraduate physicians. That means a physician can come for the 1 year before registration, can work in Karen under supervision, and they will be then registered. So we hope one day we will go to a full-fledged medical school. But more important than that, we would like to have our medical services spread out through all the counties in this country. It is possible to run medical facilities in other areas, as far as Kisumu, Eldoret, Mombasa, Madeira, Marsabit. And that's our vision locally in the country. And we hope that one day in our lifetime, we shall have a current hospital in South Sudan, a current hospital in the Congo, a current hospital in Rwanda, maybe a current hospital in Ethiopia and Tanzania and Uganda. It is possible. Our vision still continues to grow. We have not reached where we want to be. We can go beyond our borders and get more than we have done.
But of course, Catherine, the great thing is that there are new generations who can carry forward, the vision and, and multiply, where we started. So we are not imagining that we are going to live like Abraham, for to 120 years to be able to get this. But this can still be, once you have laid down the correct structures and foundations, and you have instilled that dream and that desire, not just in our children. Now it's no longer about us and our children. It's about us and the whole group of people that I talked about, who now must carry the dream forward, and own it and say for everything. And that's what and something I'd just like to emphasize. The current generation that has come now of the 480 permanent staff and 120 part-timers, we do not know what it took to get to where we are. But they don't need to know. They need to know the history, but what they need to see is the future and see themselves in that future.
So in the pathway of just building this vision and having, that just heart of benevolence and giving, as a married couple, how did you keep it together, Dr. Dan, from a head of the home?
It's very easy. It's very easy. Catherine, let me tell you the truth of the matter.
Tell me.
In medical, being doctors, we are extremely very busy.
Right.
Treating people, taking care of people. You have no time to quarrel.
You have no time to quarrel?
Not at all.
You're not even present.
Yes, you don't even think about it.
Or even if it's a quarrel, it doesn't come across
as a
quarrel.
You forget. It's nice to be busy.
Dr. Betty, why are you not laughing at your husband's jokes?
I told you, Catherine, that 40 plus years of listening to his jokes. Now I laugh sometimes.
You laugh inside.
I laugh inside. But yes, it's you are asking how. Some people ask us even way back. They used to ask us in Nairobi Heart Clinic, how is it that a couple works together?
Yes.
And especially some of our colleague doctors, would just come and say, I think the best thing is that, to work differently. Because that's the only way you can be yourself. And you see, what I tell people is, we don't know how not to work together because we have never not worked together. You asked, there was something that you asked whether we went to other hospitals. For a short time, of course, we did work in Kenyatta. I told you in Nakuru Hospital, Provincial Hospital. He also worked for some time in Eldoret. I worked, we all did some work in, in the health centers in Machakos was when we were training. But Kenyatta National Hospital is where we would say we spent the longest time, outside Karen Hospital.
Okay.
And of course, when we're in the US, we're also working, I was working at the University of Minnesota Hospital, and he was working in University of Minnesota Abbott Northwestern Hospital. So those are the hospitals that we worked. And when we came back, I worked briefly in Kenyatta National Hospital, very briefly at Aga Khan Hospital, and then by that time we were settling our clinic.
Yes.
And so that's the background.
Yes.
Other than Daktari has a different story where he, where he was a lecturer at the University of Nairobi.
So what is that glue in your?
You know, Catherine, it's honesty. Because we all make mistakes. It's honesty, forgiveness, and mutual respect. Because as long as you have that between you and your family and your children, you get along. I met a man, a member of parliament from the Congo, who came and we took care of him, and he told me, I can't understand how you and your son can work together on a day-to-day basis and agree. He told me he has never seen that. But as I say, as long as you are open to each other, nobody takes his opinion as supreme, and you are ready to listen to your wife, to your children, hear what they say, digest it. If you have an opinion, give it, but not as an imperial message. I am the boss, you have to listen. No. It's mutual understanding, mutual respect, forgiving each other for mistakes you have done, and moving on as a unit. It is this idea that I am the king, and my opinion is supreme, that destroys institutions, destroys countries, destroys families. It's a mutual respect of each other that makes people move along in all levels of society. And that's something we can learn and adopt. And as you know, as the Pope rightly says, all nations are built on the family structure. Strong families, strong countries.
That's beautiful.
I think it's also good, Catherine, to say, and so that people watching, do not think that we are superhuman or we have special gifts. That I think life is about making decisions and staying with and staying with that decision. If you decide to get married, and I tell my husband and I tell other people, which is my mother told me marriage is for life. And if you read my book, you see that my mother, unlike his mother, did not have such a great time, with my father. My father was polygamous, and my father was everything. But my mother, who said, it doesn't matter what your father, whatever he will do to me, I will never leave this marriage. That what really matters most to you, bringing up your children in a family setting, and also teaching them that life is not a bed of roses, or deciding that your interests are more supersede the interest of the larger group.
Yes.
So with us, God has blessed us with 3 children and 8 grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
So we are a busy lot.
Yes.
And so even for when you say what is the glue every couple has it. They just have to look at it and decide what really matters most.
So your retirement plans, what are they?
My retirement plans is, as now as the chairman of the board of directors of the current hospital, I'm looking at the bigger picture that Dr. Gikonyo is looking at about the growth of the hospital into 5. Our current strategic plan is to have 5 other hospitals and grow the branches, from the current 9 to 50, over, by 2030. So that preoccupies me in terms of seeing that we are on course as far as the strategic plan is concerned.
Right.
Now I am also at advisory level, in the hospital, so that I don't do any administrative work, but by nature I'm not the kind of person who can stay at home. So apart from the hospital, I do teaching on webinars. I'm a Rotarian, so I enjoy every Wednesday being with my fellow Rotarians. But on the other side, I'm very passionate about farming. So I have, over the time, we have a farm, or 2 in Nyeri, where I have cows and sheep, and also, grow, vegetables. But I'm really very keen, on the environment. So I do a lot of tree planting, and as you also saw in my book, when the opportunity allows, or not opportunity, it just brings it, with this corona over. Traveling is something that I love. I love to do. Yes, there is the book that I authored, The Girl Who Dared to Dream. Girl who dared to be a doctor, and I'm very happy that that God allowed it to happen. So I'm very grateful. So during this time, I've also been looking at other parts of life, other areas of my life that maybe I had ignored. That maybe. We have always been physically active, I don't know how else when you're a doctor, you're on your feet all the time, but we also have a treadmill at home and walking, but I've also now taken it a little bit more vigorously because age is catching up.
Which age? My next question is, I need secrets of what you eat because you do not look like your age.
Yes, and the other thing is looking at the spiritual life, making sure that, I do a Bible study weekly, because there are some things that when you're working, yes, you go to church on Sunday, but that is a routine, but you need to do something a bit more. So as I was writing this book, who was I writing it for? I really was writing it for that boy and girl out there who has, a dream, whether to be a doctor, an architect, to be, a businessman, or to be, to let them know that even under the most difficult circumstances, it is possible to actually achieve your dream with consistency, with hard work, and at all the time remaining focused, and at not allowing other people to discourage you, that indeed the dream can come true. The book really is a motivational book, and in as much as it grew, I went on to discuss about my life in the village, my life, in high school, my life in college, and later now the university, and work that in the current hospital, and other work that I have done in the public as being a member of council of the University of Nairobi, chairman of the Nairobi Health Management Board, and other things. Those came later, but the dream was to be a doctor. And the basis was the doctor. And that is the doctor that I still, I breathe a doctor,
that's who you are.
And that's what I feel was the greatest achievement.
You have written this book extremely well. Your spirit comes out through this book. Humor, tenderness, affection.
Thank you.
You may happen to know Doc. She speaks very highly of you as well.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
She highly esteems you in this book.
Thank you.
One can tell that this is a beautiful marriage. Doc, this is a book about your mom, written in Kikuyu.
Yes. Though Beadahavu in English means a crown of gold. And it's actually a quote from the book of Revelations, where John says that he looked up at the heavens and he saw a table laid in heaven. And around the table were the saints, 12 saints who had gone there. And on their heads were crowns of gold. Though beadavu. So that is a book we have done with my sister, Mrs. Wamushe Igeria, Miriam, on the life of my mother. And we have put it in Kikuyu, mainly because that is the language she fluently spoke. She spoke a little English here and there, but the language my mother spoke fluently was Kikuyu. And we could not put her thoughts and her words as effectively in any other language as we put it in Kikuyu. And we show the life of a Kikuyu woman born in the 1920s who grew up in a traditional manner, turned into Christianity, tried to influence our society, and what she has put into it, and how she ended up bringing us up as a stable family. It's in Kikuyu. I know many people would like to read it in English. We can do, or we shall do, an English translation. But apart from putting it in the language my mother spoke, I'm a very strong believer in Goge Thiongo's idea of keeping our languages alive.
Yes. Because
the Kikuyu language is rich in many ways, in idioms, in proverbs, in advisory words that we should not let die. The Kikuyu language has been made stronger by Kikuyu songs that the liberators in the Mau Mau movement sang, cultural songs that Kamaru sang, many things that are Kikuyu that we should put them for posterity in that language. Asking about retirement, that's part of my retirement. I intend to keep on writing, and I want to write a biography, a step ahead of the girl who dream and move the dream ahead, like we have said, to complement the same book. Doctors really never retire because it's a mentor job, and you can continue giving that mentor advice even when you are not able to physically do much. But my retirement plan is to make young doctors and take up the dream of Karen Hospital. Instill in them the desires we have, the fire we have, that they can carry on that flame into the next generations. So apart from writing and nurturing young people, retirement is physical exercise. As you mentioned, we have grandchildren, and one of them actually has joined us. Wow. So that's what we want, and he's now working with us in Karen in the finance department, because he's done finance management, Gikonyo. And so we want to grow this system so that even if we are not there, there's some system to carry it over.
Dr. Betty, what words of wisdom? Whom do you feel you need to talk to? Is it mothers? Is it doctors? Is it young people? Is it young women? Is it young married couples? Pick someone you need to talk to on camera.
I'd like to talk to the young people. You have a future, and a great future. But you are the one who are going to ensure that that great future that is out there for you, you actually grab it, but it will not happen by chance. It will happen by planning, being very passionate about it, being proactive, planning with an end in mind. Where do I want to be 10 years, 20 years from now? And what do I need to do? What do I need to armor myself in terms of education? Because education is paramount. Do not listen to anybody who tells you that education is no longer important, that you can get far without education. Education will not only allow you to work in Kenya, to allow you to work in the region, you become a global citizen. You can work anywhere.
I love it. I just absolutely love it. Dr. Dan, whom do you want to speak to?
I would like to speak to two people. The first person I want to speak to is somebody called family. And to the family, I say, children, respect and listen to your parents. They have seen it before. They know the path. Listen to them because they can tell you where the potholes are. And parents will only give you advice that they are sure is useful for you. Family, wives, respect your husbands. Husbands, respect your wives. The family is the foundation of a nation. As long as we have God-fearing families, we shall end up having a God-fearing country. The second person I want to talk to is somebody called the state. And I say to the state and the government, please don't be the tempter like Satan tried to tempt Jesus. Don't tempt the citizens, and I'll give you this, the whole world, if you do this. Because sometimes, not all of us are like Jesus, they fall to temptations. Corruption can be eliminated by the state if the state so deserves or so desires to do. Because we reward corruption. We reward dishonesty. If you can bring the culture of respecting hard work and respecting honesty, whereas even us in government as leaders observe the rules of law and avoid corruption, which will help the family to build up that state. There is no place we can get to in development if we allow the people who lead us to be the people who steal from us.
Wow. Well, I am so grateful that you made the time to come share your story. This book has lots of stories in it that you want to, get a copy. It's available everywhere, right?
It's available, yes.
Available everywhere. Thank you for just pouring into our lives as well, because that's what your story has done. And you've shared so powerfully. I see also something that with people who have been blessed with immense success, that spirit of humility. It is so tangible and evident in the both of you. And
Thank you.
It's there. And I guess that's what happens as you fulfill vision, you find that it's really what you both said. It's just helping other people. So if you have that opportunity to help, there's a lot that you have gleaned from your story, and I'm so grateful that you've shared it. And I'm hoping this doesn't end here. And to you watching, I am so glad you made the time to do this. The show goes on YouTube right after this, and you can also catch a repeat on Wednesdays at 7 in the morning. And we are so thankful to the management of Trademark Hotel for hosting us. Thank you to Dr. Manoj and his team for this opportunity. And until next week, stay safe, remain grateful.